Previously, my wife wanted some garden beds on this side of our yard. So I came up with a little model. We took down these old fences, used all of that lumber, and I built these sort of frames for these garden beds. That's got us caught up to where we are today. Once I had those frames done, I started off by scraping all of the wood down. Some of this lumber from these old fences had some moss growing on it. Some birds left some gifts on there. So we scraped it down, brushed it off, just cleaned it up. And then I put some wood finish on there, just some waterproofing wood finish. I bought a 5-gallon bucket of this stuff because I'm also going to use it on our swing set and on our deck when I finish building the deck. I used this sprayer instead of a brush to put this stuff on, and the sprayer worked pretty well. Probably used more than I needed using the sprayer, but this was way faster than brushing it on just to walk around and spray it. It doesn't have to be fancy. After it sat for about 3 days, everything had dried, and the wood's pretty waterproof. Water just sort of beads up and rolls off of there. Probably should have pulled those staples out. Then I got my sheets of roofing. Now, I did have some pieces of roofing in the barn that I was going to use, but I ended up just buying new sheets of roofing so that they were all the same size and they all matched. That really wasn't important. These are 3x12 sheets. I put all of the full pieces up first, and then I drilled holes through the sides of these panels. I realized I'm going to fill these things with dirt, and we're going to plant things in them, and the sides of these beds are going to flex a lot. And I put all thread through these and bolted the sides together so that the garden beds won't flex out when we fill them full of dirt. And you can see I measured just to keep the sides all lined up. Did that on both sides all the way around just to keep the garden beds in the right shape when they are full of dirt. Now for the shorter pieces of metal, I cut some of these big long sheets down. And I thought I would use that cool trick where you turn a saw blade around backwards in your circular saw. I hadn't tried this before, so I used the most beat up saw blade I had that really wasn't good for much. And it turns out that it's a terrible idea because it absolutely destroys your saw blades. It's also incredibly loud, like incredibly loud. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard. Would not recommend doing that. Also, if you have a very dry lawn, it is possible that you will light your lawn on fire. Throughout the spring and summer, we had been saving our cardboard boxes, smashed them all down, put them in the bottom of these beds. Now, I had already put some wire mesh down in the bottom to keep rodents from tunneling through. I kind of thought the cardboard would keep plants from growing up through there. Boxes are so big, there's no way we're going to fill these full of dirt. Had a bunch of brush piles, thought this would be a good use of some of that brush rather than just burning it all. We filled in the bottom of those garden boxes, and then we got some dirt. We dumped dirt into the garden boxes and spread the dirt around, filled in all the little holes around all the branches, and as you can see, filled the boxes up right up to the top, nice and neat. Now, just kidding, it didn't. We didn't have enough soil to fill them at all. So we got some more dirt, and then we did the whole thing again and filled them all the way up to the top this time. A little overfilled, but I kind of figured this is going to pack down and fill in around that brush and stuff we put down there. Next, we harvested some cattle panels from the field, and I do mean harvested because they were kind of grown into the grass in the back, but we pulled them out and put them over the top of these beds in these arches. They screwed onto the sides with these little metal clip bracket things that I found in the electrical section in this hardware store, and then I wired all the panels together to make a solid roof over the top of the beds. And I wired the tops of the panels down to those cross pieces too, so that they don't move around and they're not going to blow off in a really strong wind or anything. And that is where it's at so far. So now I have gotten the garden beds looking like the plan that I made in SketchUp. There's still a lot of things to do before we can plant things, but it's September, so we're not going to be planting anything in this until the spring. So there will be a part 3. You'll have to stick around for that, I guess. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you next time.